folks, welcome to the websites meeting for the May 24th. I think both of you, hopefully, Soccer, do you have the link to the meeting minutes? Good morning. And I dropped a link to those minutes in the chat. So a couple of topics today. So Gautam's got some work that he had recently done on the Learn-NG effort. That we can talk about the style guide and brand guide. A bit. This pertains to, well, really all the websites and Mastery UI. Oh, nice. Good deal, Soccer. And then Josh and maybe Abhishek will join us today to talk about discuss.layer5.io. And actually maybe one other topic, and that is, where is everybody? What happened? I wonder if the meeting fell off the calendar or what?
Yeah, like the thing is, I was also looking into the docs also need to have the updated time, because I was like thinking of it as 6 and then just remembered, yeah, it's 5:30.
Oof, yeah. So these docs right here, Josh. Okay, yeah, good point. We did update the reminder in the website's channel. Of course, that goes off like half an hour beforehand, and it doesn't explicitly say, I think, when the meeting starts. We have avoided that because meeting times will change, and we're try to make the reminder such that it's less fragile and not calling out a specific time. But I don't think that really works. I think it probably needs to call out the time. So
can we add so currently the reminder states like the Layer5 website meeting starts soon. We can have it like starts in half an hour or something.
Yep, sounds good. The reason that we hadn't in the past is because because sometimes the time will change on the meeting, and then that means that the reminder would be out of date and it would be telling people the wrong thing because it would be too specific. So we were trying to just generally remind people like an hour or half an hour before by saying it's starting soon. But to your point, I don't know that that's working. So
because other channels do have it for an hour, I guess, or is it half an hour for other channels as well?
Yeah, that's a good point. That I don't know. I do know that there was an effort made to be consistent, but I don't know that it is consistent. So yeah, so that's another good example of we may as well just call out the time. By the way, so Gautam and Soccer, since we're on this topic, does this meeting show up for you guys on your calendars? Well, assuming that you're subscribed to the community calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Means I was able to see the calendar means the date in which the meeting was there. I could see it properly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
For me, it is I don't get a notification. Maybe that's on my end where I have to set up the notification. But when I go to Google Calendar, I can see it says Mastery website meeting. I click on it and it has the Zoom link based on my time.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. That's another thing to check on is whether or not any of them have an alert, an alert notification set, because that would. Huh. Okay. That's a good thing just to check on. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's dive in. So, Gautam, do you want to talk about your recent addition to Learn-NG?
Yeah, sure. So should I share the screen or I'll just?
No, that'd be great. Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. So, yep. Um, how to hide it? Hmm. How to hide this panel? Does anyone knows?
Yep, say it again. Yeah, how do you do what?
How
Oh,
to
get
hi-
rid of.
Yeah.
You can like drag it over somewhere.
Okay. So, yep. Okay, I'm actually master right now. I need to. Yeah, so I added this component called learn info. So what this the PR that I made demanded was to add this component with courses name and additional information basically. So the also the PR, one thing to notice right here is that the PR demanded dynamic data, means it should dynamically fetch the data using GraphQL APIs, means the actual name. But I was not able to do so, as I mentioned Nikhil that right now it's only in hard coded data. And so Nikhil told me to just send the PR of hard coded data and he will further add that GraphQL API himself. So yeah, I just did this only and it was responsive. Yeah, so that's it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, what can I say? Even just a responsive 3-column, component like this. There can be so much to it. There can be so little to it, and yet so much.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is that its own component? Is that a fair way of characterizing it, or is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's an own component.
Okay. Do you recall what name you gave it?
I just learn in info. I'll
Okay.
just see. Learn info. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and then it also makes some sense that you would have a struggle with the dynamic data, in part just because, well, not all of that specific data is necessarily there. Like we don't have all 4 of the learning paths created and all 24 of the chapters there. So yeah, the data.
Yeah, please continue.
No.
So I had a doubt, like like, is the component inside the same container that is for entire page? Because I feel it's a bit left as compared to the like header or the above component.
Uh, yeah, just means it's inside the same component in which this whole learning path, means it's inside this learning path component basically.
Okay, then I think there must be some issue with margin or padding to the left one, because it shows it's a bit left. Like if you can just see, if you can compare it with the 3 boxes just above, then you can see that the 3 columns below are shifted towards left.
Yes, exactly.
So I think, like, if you can just look at into once the margins or any such stuff that is applied to the above boxes, and if you apply to the columns as well, then if it fixes, then it would be like good.
Yeah, sure. I'll look into it.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. One other item is since since Gotham, we became such good friends when you made a misspell or an accidental capitalization that I'll point. Yeah, good. You totally knocked it out. I'll point out Well, actually, just on this in particular, not that we wouldn't revisit and correct this before we go live, but yeah, actually, if we have a list, the last item in the list, we would probably put and so Istio, Kuma, NSM, Linkerd, and we still leave the comma because sort of follow the Oxford commas here, but then it would be and console. And while I'm being extraordinarily meticulous, one item on the left-hand side under 4 courses says learning the service mesh the right way. Cool. I don't know who wrote that, but yes, good. And then there's a missing N in from the best learning paths. And so it actually says from the best leering paths. So it's just missing an N there. Oh, actually, yeah, and it's repeated in the other paragraph.
Yeah, the content needs to be revised.
But it is, and in some respects, I don't know that it's worth going. I guess if you're going back in, great, fix it. But otherwise, we'll go back through before it really goes out.
Yeah, so like maybe when you like look into the margins, then while you submit a PR, then we can just edit the like give the content as well so that it can be fixed together.
Yeah, exactly. Means it could go into an NFC commit or so. We could change the content as well as the margin.
Yeah.
Nice. Good deal. So Gotham, and then you said you're off to do some work on Mesh Your UI. There's some GraphQL. Oh, there's a lot of activity actually on the API endpoints there for GraphQL.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, as of yesterday, just a few people going through them. But while you were digging in there, did you end up biting off another component here to work through?
Sorry, means I couldn't get you.
Or are you continuing forth with more learn ng?
Yeah, means I could talk to Nikhil and he would just guide me what's the next goal over here. Means if my goals align with him, I could probably work any of these. Means there's no fixed rule about that.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. Good. Yeah. Do catch up with him. And if he doesn't get to you, Josh might get to you first. But good. Nice. Thanks for sharing this and just doing it on the fly. It's nice. Boy, I hope that we have 12 service mesh adapters available at some point. That'd be good. Well, fair enough. Maybe I'll share the meeting minutes again. So one item that came up, actually, soccer, that maybe is something, a consideration for you potentially is, so in the Slack, there was a recent message in the general channel. If you click on the link in the meeting minutes, let's see. It's here. Let me share it. This soccer, this might be, I think this is a good one for you to take a look at because it will get you indoctrinated to a different aspect of website design. And one of the considerations is that on each of the pages on Layer5 IO, that each of them explicitly have an image that's highlighted as like the image that if you were going to share a given link on Slack or on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn or what have you, that that image would be used as you go to share it. And you can me show you what I mean. Yeah. So for Twitter, there's a developer tool. It's called their card validator. For LinkedIn, it's called the post inspector. For Facebook, I don't know, because I don't do Facebook. So, well, there is one. I've seen it. I just don't remember what it's called. So if you're here, soccer, and you're like, hey, this is, I like the community. I want to, tell one of my friends about it. I send it to them. I tweet it or something like that. And so, well, when you make the tweet, should you have an image inside, maybe a screenshot of one of the meetings or something like that? Or, and if you don't, what would there be an image that comes along with that social share? And there would be in this case, and it would be this image. That's the logo on the site. Well, why would it be that image versus like a community image? Well, that's because of what's defined on the page. So this is the page, Layer5IO community. Actually, this is not the page. This is the calendar page. Let's see. So this is the page. If you look at the source of the page in the head section, you'll end up seeing an image specified as the image to be shared. And so it actually comes under like here, actually. So this OG image, this property, there's a Twitter card, Twitter creator, like the Twitter image, it points to this one right here, which is the same one that you're seeing. So let's go take that URL, go to it. Oh, yep. Hey, there's the image. That's the same one that I was sharing. Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting. So I was just noticing that someone was sharing a link in Slack about the projects here. And that particular page, it looks like this link here, it uses this image, which I think is, relevant to the projects that are going on. So if we could click the link, yep, it's layer5io/projects. Okay. Well, good. This is good in so much as this is an image specific to the page. So it's relevant. Although it's an old image because it only highlights 3 projects. And so there's an updated version of that I thought, since I just saw this and we're on the call, this might be something that you would want to learn a bit about how this works. And at the same time, maybe update the image itself. And so I'm going to grab the image, send it to you. And if it's of interest, maybe you could create an issue on GitHub and work on figuring it out. I think, it's kind of a good way of learning.
I would say, yes, I'm interested. I didn't know that a tag exists like that. This is my first time learning it. So I would say I do have a question.
Yeah.
Which one is, thank you. Which one is, it has to do with level of importance. Which one is more important at the moment? Is it me getting this image down where if someone puts a link in Slack, it links to the right image? Or is it me getting the navigation sidebar down? Which one is like more important at the moment?
The learn NG more important.
And learn NG is the sidebar navigation, or is it the image? I'm not.
Yep. Sorry, it's the sidebar navigation.
Understand. So yes, I would like to work on this one. Thank you for answering my question.
Nice. Yeah. Good. Yeah. This one is it won't be too long before the sidebar navigation will be that you might end up with people helping you get it done, because we'll be getting close to the time where we'll need to have it, but that's fine because you'll learn as they assist. And this second one is, yeah, it's okay if it takes a while. Like, not that many people see it.
I
But
can upload the images like if it's urgent and if anyone's not free to take it up.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, soccer, I don't know if that only adds stress as we pile this on, or if you want to put it in your backlog.
I would say, go ahead. Sorry.
Or yeah, or if it's just as convenient that Josh takes it.
I would say Josh take it, but I would like to learn how Josh does it, so that way I can like learn something besides the component.
I'll write it like this. So assigned to Josh, but soccer to review the PR for a new image. Nice, beautiful. That's the best of, I think, all of those worlds that we were talking about. Cool. Okay, and then soccer. Since we're chatting about some of the items that you're working on, any update you want to give this week?
Yes. So I noticed that there's a bug. I'm not sure. The bug is specifically is I have an index.html page and I have a React script. So with I have a div tag, and when I ID, the ID for the div tag is called root. I have no problem on the React script rendering an HTML page with the ID root. But once I change the ID to something like Apple, and I go back to the React script and I change and I target the Apple, it says not a valid DOM tag. So that's where my issue has been. I moved on from it, but it's an issue that it's weird. So an update as of this week, I would finish the React, I will be done probably Monday or Tuesday with the React. Then from Tuesday to Friday, I will start implementing the navigation, the nav component.
Got you. Okay. Just starting. Nice. Okay, good. Well, yeah, I have my fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Yeah, good update. All right. One of the other topics we had was, I figured that we would, gosh, I don't know how it came up, but there's a style guide and kind of brand resources. Gautam and Soccer and Josh, I think you're familiar already, that as you guys work on various projects, most of the projects, their color schemes and their logos are available at layer5io/brand. And so it's a good URL to have in your toolkit, because for each of the projects, you're able to download a small kit of logos. Some of them have the color schemes included, but the color schemes are also published here. So good. The other resource there is, well, it's a brand guide. You'll find it in the Layer5 community drive. Under websites, logos, and assets, there's a Layer5 brand guide, which is helpful with respect to fonts and colors and tone, and a bit more about who the community is and who the core personas are, how we want to communicate with the audience, who we think the audience is, how we want to communicate with them, what value we think that we're giving to them. And so, unfortunately, some of this just isn't done. Yeah, desktop, mobile, desktop. That's confusing. Okay. Well, maybe this isn't the resource I thought it would be. Okay, let me take a note to make sure that we actually have a final brand guide. But there is some information that's fairly helpful in there. Okay, fair enough. Any questions about these two resources? Good. Hopefully they're self-explanatory. So we talked about the meeting time and like trying to help improve the reminders, which then leads us to discuss.layer5.io. And so Josh, you're up.
Yeah, so okay.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
So like for now, I've made the header and footer more consistent with the Layer5 website. The For the desktop view for now, and I'm working on the mobile view for the footer, because like it's a bit different from the website due to the use of flexes at some point, which would make like which requires to make like write different codes, and we can't have the same responsiveness, but I'm working on it. So like that's a later issue, because discuss on mobile would be a very less visited thing, but yeah, we'll have it soon. But till then, so I like almost everything is configured. So I will add the LinkedIn and Microsoft login once we have the keys for them generated, and that's all. Nothing much.
Yeah, Josh, yeah, no, I think I held you up this last week. I still haven't delivered like the final email credentials to you. So that's bothersome, particularly as you go to initialize the site, it requires that you have functional email. So yeah, Josh, some questions. Is the staging site still available?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here it is.
Okay. So some of this, like the categories, we're still able to copy, or some of the content we're still able to copy, but
Yes, I was waiting for like your confirmation if we want to begin with creating the basic categories, or
yeah, I think so. Yeah, if you would, I think these, like the ones that you have here, are wonderful in so much as we would have a category per project. Like that's very centric to what I expect we'll be chatting about. And then, for general service mesh discussions, I don't know if having 10 different categories, one for each mesh, is going to be overwhelming and unnecessary or not.
I think like the most discussed ones like Istio or Linkerd can have an different, like can have a separate category, and there can be a general category for service meshes.
Yep. Yeah. That's it. So the problem with that is that, well, the problem is that in part what we're promoting here is the concept that there are many and they're all valid. And when we only have categories for the top few of them, then it makes it look like, well, really, while there are a bunch, only a couple of them are actually valid enough to have categories for, which is a detractant from the message that we tell people about the world being multi-mesh. So, but
okay, since I have another idea, like let's have it like a promotion basis. For now, we do have a general category for service meshes, and like if let's say related to some service mesh 10 or 20 posts exceeds, then we may create a category or something like that.
yeah, and I'm assuming we can move topics around from, like, if someone posted a topic in one category, as a moderator, if you find that it's a better fit for a different category, we can restructure later.
Yeah.
Okay. So that seems like a solid initial approach. Like, part of the problem, I mean, that sounds good, Josh. We should do what you just said about the general category for service meshes. That way it doesn't show favoritism. That way it also gives it a chance to grow. Because if we did have 10 new topics, they're all going to have 10 new categories, they're all going to have 0 topics inside of them, which makes it feel like a very lonely, unused place. And so, yeah, to start, fewer categories, maybe the better. So that's good. There were, and then I don't know, I suspect that we'll end up with the need, or maybe if we don't put a category there, maybe we won't end up with the need, but the need being a potential one around contributing, because there's just a lot of questions about commit sign-offs and how to get into Slack or what resources are available. And like, there might be, what we might do well to do is simply make a topic that's pinned, and it's like that first one that you have there. It's like the README first quick, community quick start guide that is sort of a read-only publication of, it's just a regurgitation of all the other welcome guides that we have, and that it's not a category. It's not set up for it's not a help forum in that regard, or not on those topics. Maybe we would start with that and see if that serves us well, or see if we really do need to have a category for contributing questions. I do think that we'll field a lot of contributing questions for Meshery, for like when Gotham, goes through and he starts to work on the first area, and he wonders like, hey, what's this GraphQL endpoint? What's the schema for it? Like, where can I find that or something? And he might just come on here and he can ask that question in Slack. At some point, all of us will ask ourselves, hey, how many of these questions is there a point in time by which we say some of the questions that we're answering in Slack have been answered? Oh my goodness, they've been answered so many times. Should we start to point people to here and spare our fingers some typing by, I'm sure that we'll still like go look up the URL to the answer, post it in Slack and say, hey, go check it out here. And I'm sure that we'll still do some typing, but. So Josh, I think that was some thinking aloud. I think we did. Yeah, Soccer, please go ahead.
When I was taking Udacity course, they have a discussion forum, and if you have any questions throughout, like with projects or something, they usually recommend that you go through the discussion forum, you search in whatever project you're working on, and a list will populate of the common questions. And if you don't find it after, like, let's say 5 minutes, you're free to open up a new discussion forum and say, this is my problem, I would like help, this is what I've done, this is where I'm stuck in. So that's just my input.
Yeah. That's a fairly common convention. Like that's not inappropriate to ask people to do. Like, you know, it's just asking them to do. Actually, if you're on the receiving end of that and you're reading something like that and you're thinking, geez, you know, they're really wanting me to do a lot of work here to go find a prior discussion and read through that discussion. Like I'd rather just ask the specific, you know, which might be related to my question, but might not be exactly my question. And so as a user, I'd rather just ask my specific question because I just, you know, excuse me, because either A, I'm lazy, or B, I'm not sure that it's going to be there. And I would think that line of thinking is a slight misconception that actually, if you do a quick search and you find an answer on LFX in this case, that you're able to get the answer faster than having to wait for Soccer to come over and tell you how the open graph images work for social shares on the site, like for whatever question you have, like, so yeah, so Soccer is a good input.
I understand your perspective as well.
Josh, I think that answers a couple of questions about initial categories. Josh, can we have subcategories? Like if there's, or is there just a convention that people follow? Like if you have a couple of related categories, you just do this naming convention where Meshry users, Meshry contributors, like Meshry UI, Meshry adapters.
I think we can add tags to it in a post.
Nice. Cool. That is the right starting point as well. Because our bigger challenge once this is finally live is will be about content, will be about people using it. And so I'm sure that Nikhil and Anita and others will end up actually even retroactively, this might be something that we call for in the community, is retroactively for us to grab some of the more commonly asked questions that you find yourself repeating yourself in Slack about, to be able to come over and publish those, like start a thread to publish them here. Josh, one thing that I'm interested in is, so I've a little doubt that Anita will more or less say what I just said a moment ago, which is, hey, it'd be nice if we had, even if we don't have a category dedicated to contributing in general, that having a static post that is something of a welcome guide, you know, regurgitates part of the community handbook, not the whole thing, but that long-standing post, that long-standing topic. Is there any other facility to create something like that? Is it just you create a new topic and pin it?
I think we have something like that because while I was looking on the discourse forum itself, so like for introducing the plugins, there was something similar. So I can see.
Yeah, they end up like pinning it, right? They end up like I forget what I think pinning is probably the word.
Yeah, but I think they do
Or locking it.
allow replies on it as well.
I'm curious, at the very top of this particular post, there was, if you scroll down just a little bit more, that provider, that table full of check marks, is that just an image? Or is that, are those hyperlinks live?
Yeah, I think it's a table.
Okay. That's neat. that could be really helpful for, you know, yeah.
So like
Okay.
they do use the, like this is I think a tag, or no, it's a category named plugin, and this one might be a tag. So that could be like, anyways, the if we even allow replies, but the, as you said, it would be pinned, the first post would always be pinned, and if it's like the entire contributing guide spanning over around 2 pages of length, then it would be enough, even though there are questions or comments below it.
Yeah. I'm assuming in each category, you could potentially pin one or more topics. Yeah.
Here it's
Okay.
pin topic.
Nice. Reset bump date for the topic timer. Do you see that functionality? The reset bump date. It's like what is that? Bump meaning a reminder.
All of the dates are similar, so I don't think we can check it out what's here.
Huh.
I'll do something around staging, discuss, and look into what on different features we could use into. So like by the community call, we can be ready to like show it to the community and ask them to come over and like just try it out.
Yeah, totally. That'd be great. Anita, I've never been shy in asking you to potentially do things. This discourse is the type of site that runs discuss.layer5.io.
Yeah.
If it is of interest to you, this is an opportune time to dig into the particulars of how this discussion forum works, because there's so many knobs to turn on and off and tune. So Josh and Nikhil and others here have gone through identifying what plugins to enable, how to configure them, they've gone through lots and lots of the settings, but not all of them. And some of them are kind of hard to figure out what we might want to set the setting, what we might want to configure the setting to, until there's been a lot of discussion, and then you figure out like, oh. So anyway, I thought I'd call it out because we're about to go, hopefully launch this, hopefully on Friday, or like this week. And when we do.
Hooray.
Yeah. So we'll end up having questions over time of like, to help seed content, should we let people post freely, or no, should we have the setting configured where if you just signed up and got an account, before your first message can be displayed publicly, it needs to be approved by a moderator. Like, what's the right balance? Actually, you can see right here that there's a note. It's that first light green note. It says, to make launching your new site easier, you are in Bootstrap mode. And so anyway, I won't read the rest of it, but my point is there's a lot of those types of questions. So if it's of interest, like, now is the time.
Oh, all right. I already contacted Nikhil concerning this, and I was able to go through the doc. So I guess I understand a little bit of how it's like the whole page works and all, but I think I'll still have to go over it again.
Nice. Yeah. Well, one thing we might want to do, Anita, is so that's great. I didn't know that you were already, hip deep or what have you. One thing that we might make sense to do is like next Monday, is to have a small session from you in which you're not having to teach everyone all of Discuss, but rather you just choose a topic. It doesn't have to be big. It can be like 5 to 10 minute topic. and it doesn't have to be a formal presentation, but just to hear from you where you're maybe talking about, hey, you know, the way that I'm just going to give an example topic that you could walk us through is like, hey, look, I wanted to come to understand how many emails people might be getting. So I went ahead and did a test, and let me walk you through that. So here I sign up as a new user. So then I get one email, you know, just to facilitate like the verification of my email. Okay, great. And then as soon as that's verified, I get another email saying, you know, welcome to the community and whatever. And then, okay. And then I click on to watch a topic and I create a new post, and like to walk us through that journey would be interesting to reflect on like the default notification preferences. You know, like, should we be turning them up or turning them down? And so that was just a random example of like what I meant. So any amount of functionality that you might.
So if I got you clearly, it could be a hands-on guide sort of on how it works if you're using it as from the user end, right?
Yeah. Yep. Or
and
yes,
how the Discuss channel works from the user end.
Totally. That would be nice. Alternatively, you might end up talking about different settings or just whatever is top of mind for you, just some stuff that you've learned about either best practices or like, hey, some things that you've noticed that we have yet to complete, like a code of conduct is here, but it's not custom written for our community, or whatever those things are that you find, which I'm sure there will be a number of issues. So.
All right, then, no problem.
Nice.
I'll be glad to take that.
Cool. Good. Okay, Josh. So Josh, on the I understand there's challenges with this, so I want to mention this. Don't take it as me rubbing on you. But so the font family used in the nav bar is great. The font weight, the font family. Actually, if you click on one of those for a minute and we go to the Layer5 IO site, just to reflect how far off or how close we are, like it's really close, right? Like, I mean, the only difference is that, well, it's not the only difference. It's two things. I think one, the menu is slid to the left and maybe up in the Discuss. So it's not, but it's pretty close, right? We could do a little more tweaking and we would be almost exact. In the foot, and you know, so it's good. It's good enough. Maybe we can tweak it over time. The footer, though, of the font family used in the footer on the Discuss site.
So like, as I was talking about, I thought like as I compared most of the fonts, it looked similar to me. So I was surprised, as you said, that it's not Canela soft.
Yeah, it takes a long time of staring at it to have it jump out at you. And so if you swap back to Discuss it, and go back one more time, if everyone trains their eye to the list items, I think while the size is a little bit different, I think the font family is the same. I think is that Open Sans?
No, the size is also the same, and the font family is also same, Open Sans. The only difference being it's a bit left and top, similar to like the exact configuration is a bit different, but the size and the family is same. That I can guarantee.
Okay. So, but for the headers, for the column headings, that font is different, and it's really similar. There's a reason we were going to use Open Sans to start with when we first were doing Layer5 IO, and then it was suggested that we use Canela Soft, and like yeah, it was a nice improvement. It was very similar, a nice improvement, but that's in part why it's hard to tell the difference because it is so similar. But one of the resources that Blossom, who participated in She Code Africa, she had noted, gosh, I think it's a Chrome plugin called What's My
Yeah.
Font?
Yeah, it's this one.
Or what? Yeah. Yeah. And so, but the list items are open sans though, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the column, the headings.
So like, can you okay, I'll talk to Augustine once regarding, like, I've used Canada soft, I guess. So if that might be an issue or something.
Yeah. It's, you can find the font in,
Yeah,
okay.
I use Canada soft black.
Okay. There is, yeah, if you take a look at the CSS for the footer on Layer5.io, you'll note that, yeah, I think we do have like, I don't know, 12 or more font files, depending upon whether it's bold, extra, super, not bold, depending upon the font weight though, like it'll be super thin or super. Anyway,
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Josh, we're close. We're close. Josh, so it sounds like there's a couple of items that I need to follow up on. So the email account, but then also if we end up enabling a Microsoft login, we haven't done that before. Is there, so the Discourse forum supports a Microsoft login?
So like the forum supports only Google, Twitter, and GitHub, but but there's a plugin which supports LinkedIn and Microsoft.
Okay. So we've done LinkedIn before, and that would be easy enough, or we have credentials, an OAuth set up for it. On Microsoft, we haven't yet. So that'd be something to investigate.
So like it's Microsoft 365. So like I don't know if there are different accounts for those as well. So
yeah, right. Yeah, no, we don't have a Microsoft 365 account. But we can go create one. An OAuth for one of those.
okay, then like once you get that auth, then I'll just enable the plugin so we can use it.
Josh, have you ever used Keybase? Keybase, it's well, it's for a few things. It's for secure chat or cryptocurrency, I guess, or a secrets exchange.
No, not yet.
Okay. We might end up chatting about that a little bit more because we, as a community, will share some secrets through there. Secrets meaning like the OAuth credentials for.
Yeah. I'm just looking into its website and I'm getting what it's meant for.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Actually, so I just looked. We're at the top of the hour. Nikhil Gautam was saying he's just twiddling his thumbs because he's all done with his first assignment on LearnNG.
Yeah, there's some improvement. Actually, we have the homepage coming up for the LearnNG. Like few of the learn paths have been, though the learn path is static, but I have updated the GraphQL for the site status component to fetch data dynamically. So we have some improvement. And Chinmay is
Nice.
working on the overview page. Hopefully, we'll get some improvement there as well by this weekend. So by next week,
Yeah.
we'll have much more to show.
Nice. Nikhil, of the GraphQL that you said that you had worked on recently, was that for, I missed the component that you said that was for.
The site status component, which would be
Okay.
on the home page, which shows how many courses, chapters, and service meshes are there in the Learn.
Okay,
site
got
that's
it.
there.
Got it. Got it. Good deal. Nice. Okay. Well, I think that's probably a wrap. So next week probably we'll be a little further with some things to discuss on LearnNG. And then hopefully next week when we meet, we will be live on Discuss. And I think that that's achievable. I think we're there. Nice. Anything else that we missed today? Other than Abhishek not coming? I think Abhishek is currently working on the production deployment for Discuss.
So like just a thing, like we'll have to look into the reminders and that stuff as well, because I think people are not aware about today's meeting. That might be an issue of low participation today.
Yeah. I hope that it is. Because if it's not that, then it's more like people aren't interested in some of the stuff that's going on. I mean, some of the She Code Africa participants, there being some natural attrition there, that makes sense as that program winds up. But that's not it though. Like, that's not the only thing.
Well, unfortunately, it happened with me. Like, I didn't got a notification from my calendar about the meeting, so I joined it.
Yeah. Yeah, Nikhil, I don't know if, yeah, that's what we're kind of openly pondering if other people were. So one thing that yeah, there's a couple of things that I need to follow. So Josh is just kind of reminding me that like, well, actually, Josh, I'll say this. You're empowered to, and maybe if you'd like to try to in the Slack, you can adjust the reminders. And so the way that it's done, it's all managed through Slack chat. So if you, in Slack, if you end up typing a /remind, be like a /remind list, then it'll give you a list of the reminders that are in there. You can choose to delete them. Or if you want to add a new one, which is what you would do, you'd copy the old one, add the new one. There's a couple of nuances about it that can be frustrating. If you were to do that and you copy the existing one, when you paste it, the quotation marks become, it's the wrong format for you have to like delete the quotation marks and put them back. Anyway, if you attempt it and struggle, I can help. Or if you don't attempt it, then I'll do it as well.
I'll look into it today.
Okay. Yeah. And then another thing, so Nikhil, one thing that I need to go look at is for the community calendar. So Soccer had confirmed that he's able to see invites on the calendar, but he's not getting a notification reminder and neither am I. I mean, I see them on my calendar, but I'm not getting a notification. And so I'll go look to see if these have a standard notification assigned, because that would help. So.
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Okay. And then Anita, good call out on the image for the Layer5 IO projects. Anita, this is actually, let me follow up with you in Slack on this image for the / projects. And because it might, yeah. Cool. Okay. I think that's a wrap. We're good to go. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. See you next week. See you next Monday.
All right, see you next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye all. See ya.